Can people live on the moon? Not just survive, but really comfortably on the moon in a community, a place that you could call home. China seems to think so, and they're putting their money where their mouth is with the International Lunar Research Station, or ILRS. We've all heard about plans for moon bases and even mining operations, but the ILRS takes things to a whole new level. This isn't just some remote outpost where astronauts go to work for a few months at a time. It's a full-fledged lunar city, designed for long-term habitation. But could it really work? Is the moon a place we might call home one day in the future? Let's talk about it. This is the space technician signing on. As news about China's advances in lunar exploration with the ultimate goal of establishing a permanent base there keep coming in, I get to wonder about what it will be like to live there and what it implies. Sure, Mars is the new hotspot for space exploration, but the moon is much closer to Earth, which means we can get there faster and more frequently. Plus, the moon has resources like water ice and helium-3 that could be game changers for sustaining life and generating power. But here's the real question. What would it be like to live on the ILRS? Well, buckle up, because it's going to be a wild ride. First, when it comes to the extreme temperature swings on the moon, we're talking about a seriously inhospitable environment. During the lunar night, temperatures can plummet to a mind-numbing negative 280 degrees Fahrenheit, or negative 173 degrees Celsius. That's colder than the coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth, which was negative 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit, or negative 89.2 degrees Celsius in Antarctica. On the flip side, during the lunar day, temperatures can skyrocket to a blistering 260 degrees Fahrenheit, or 127 degrees Celsius. For comparison, the hottest temperature ever recorded on Earth was 134 degrees Fahrenheit, 56.7 degrees Celsius, in Death Valley, California. And remember, a single lunar day lasts about 29.5 Earth days. So these extreme temperatures persist for extended periods. To combat these crazy temperature swings, the ILRS will need to employ some seriously heavy-duty insulation. One potential solution is to use the lunar regolith itself. This fine powdery material that covers the moon's surface has some pretty impressive insulating properties. By piling it on top of the habitats in thick layers, possibly even mixing it with a binding agent to create a sort of lunar concrete, the ILRS could effectively shield its residents from the harsh temperature extremes. Estimates suggest that a layer of regolith, just 2 to 3 meters thick, could provide enough insulation to maintain a comfortable temperature inside the habitats. But insulation isn't the only challenge the ILRS will face. The lack of a substantial atmosphere on the moon means that there's virtually no protection from the onslaught of cosmic radiation, solar flares, and micrometeorites. To put it in perspective, the moon's atmosphere has a total mass of around 25,000 kilograms, compared to Earth's atmospheric mass of about 5.15 to the 10 to the 18th kilograms. That's a difference of over 20 trillion times. So how will the ILRS keep its residents safe from these space hazards? A multi-layered approach is likely the answer. First, the habitats themselves will need to be constructed from materials that can withstand the impact of micrometeorites and provide shielding from radiation. One promising material is polyethylene, a type of plastic that has been shown to be effective at blocking cosmic rays. By incorporating layers of polyethylene into the habitat walls, the ILRS could significantly reduce the radiation exposure for its inhabitants. But what about when the residents need to venture outside the safety of the habitats? That's where advanced spacesuit technology comes in. The spacesuits worn by ILRS astronauts will need to provide not only life support and temperature regulation, but also robust protection from radiation and micrometeorites. These suits will likely incorporate multiple layers of shielding, including materials like Kevlar and lead, to keep the wearers safe from the harsh lunar environment. Of course, radiation shielding is only part of the equation when it comes to protecting the health of ILRS residents. The low gravity on the moon, which is just 1/6 of the Earth's gravity, can take a serious toll on the human body over time. Astronauts who spend extended periods in microgravity often experience bone density loss at a rate of about 1 to 2% per month. They also face muscle atrophy, as their bodies don't need to work as hard to move around in the reduced gravity. To combat these health risks, the ILRS will need to implement a rigorous exercise regime for its residents. This will likely include a combination of resistance training, using specialized equipment designed for use in low gravity, and cardiovascular exercise, possibly using treadmills or other stationary bikes equipped with harnesses to simulate Earth-like gravity. By dedicating several hours each day to exercise, ILRS residents can help mitigate the effects of low gravity on their bodies. But exercise alone isn't enough. The ILRS will also need to provide top-notch medical care for its residents, with facilities equipped to handle everything from routine checkups to emergency surgeries. This will require specialized medical equipment designed to function in low gravity, as well as highly trained medical professionals who can adapt to the unique challenges of practicing medicine on the moon. Another aspect of life on the ILRS that we can't overlook is the social dynamics. Living on the moon isn't just about surviving the harsh environment, it's also about building a cohesive community that can work together effectively. And when you're living in close quarters with the same small group of people for months or even years at a time, that's no easy feat. One key to success will likely be careful selection and training of ILRS crew members. Just like with long-duration missions on the International Space Station, the astronauts chosen for the ILRS will need to have not only the technical skills and physical endurance to thrive in the lunar environment, but also the social and emotional intelligence to work well as part of a tight-knit team. But even with the best crew selection and training, there's no denying that living on the ILRS will be a psychological challenge. That's why maintaining strong communication links with Earth will be absolutely essential for crew morale and mental well-being. One of the most promising technologies for this is laser communication. Unlike traditional radio communication, which can suffer from signal degradation and delay over long distances, laser communication offers the potential for high bandwidth, low latency data transmission between the Earth and the Moon. Here's how it works. A laser beam is encoded with data and transmitted from a ground station on Earth to a receiver on the ILRS. Because laser beams are highly directional and can be focused into a tight beam, they're able to transmit data much more efficiently than radio waves, which spread out in all directions. China is already investing heavily in this technology, with plans to launch a series of Chang'e relay satellites that will enable high-speed laser communication between the ILRS and ground stations on Earth. With data rates of up to several gigabits per second, these satellites could enable ILRS crew members to stay in close contact with loved ones, participate in real-time video conferences, and even stream high-definition movies and TV shows from Earth. But communication isn't the only critical resource that the ILRS will need to provide for its inhabitants. Food and water are just as essential, and the station will need to have robust systems in place for producing and recycling these vital supplies. One likely approach is to use hydroponic systems for growing crops. These systems use nutrient-rich water instead of soil, allowing plants to grow faster and more efficiently in a controlled environment. By combining hydroponic technology with LED lighting optimized for plant growth, the ILRS could create a sort of lunar greenhouse, capable of producing fresh fruits, vegetables, and even grains for its crew members. Of course, not all food can be grown on site, so the ILRS will also likely rely on regular resupply missions from Earth to provide packaged meals and other essential foodstuffs. But by supplementing these supplies with fresh, locally grown produce, the station can provide its crew members with a varied and nutritious diet, while also reducing its dependence on costly resupply missions. As for water, the ILRS has a secret weapon: the vast reserves of water ice that are thought to exist in permanently shadowed craters near the lunar poles. By sending out robotic missions to these craters, the station could extract this ice and then use a combination of filtration and purification techniques to convert it into potable water for drinking, cooking, and hygiene. Some of this water could also be split into its constituent hydrogen and oxygen atoms, using electrolysis, providing a valuable resource of breathable air for the station's life support systems. It's a bit like having a built-in water treatment plant and oxygen factory right there on the moon. But perhaps the most exciting prospect for the ILRS is its potential for near-limitless clean energy production using helium-3. This rare isotope is found in relatively high concentrations in the lunar regolith, deposited there over billions of years by solar winds. Unlike traditional nuclear fusion reactions, which rely on deuterium and tritium isotopes and produce harmful radioactive waste, fusion reactions using helium-3 are much cleaner and more efficient. In fact, it's estimated that just 25 tons of helium-3 could power the entire United States for a year, with virtually no radioactive byproducts. Of course, the technology to harness helium-3 fusion is still in its infancy, and there are significant technical hurdles to overcome before it becomes a practical reality. But with the abundant supplies of helium-3 on the moon, the ILRS could become a key testbed for developing and refining this technology. In the meantime, the station will likely rely on a combination of solar power and traditional nuclear fission reactors for its energy needs. Solar arrays can provide ample power during the lunar day, but they'll need to be supplemented with batteries or other energy storage systems to keep the lights on during the long lunar nights. Compact fission reactors like those being developed by NASA and other space agencies could provide a reliable baseload power source to keep the station running smoothly. So, what does the future hold for the ILRS? Well, if all goes according to plan, it could be the first step toward a permanent human presence on the moon, and eventually, other planets. Imagine a network of lunar outposts, each with its own unique purpose and culture. It's like the Wild West, but instead of cowboys, we've got space explorers. Of course, there are still plenty of challenges to overcome. Communication with Earth will be crucial for maintaining morale and staying connected with loved ones. And the psychological effects of isolation and confinement can't be overlooked. But if there's one thing we've learned from our experience with the International Space Station, it's that humans are incredibly adaptable. We can not only survive, but thrive in the most extreme environments, as long as we work together. So what do you think? Would you sign up for a stint on the ILRS? It's certainly not for everyone, but for those with a sense of adventure and a desire to be part of something bigger than themselves, it could be the opportunity of a lifetime. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more out-of-this-world content. This is the Space Technician, signing off for now. And I'll see you Space Cowboys in the next one.